Hey guys, Huzzy here, bringing you another video. Welcome back to another Q&A. Haven't done one in a while. You guys tend to enjoy them, even though they get less views. These videos tend to have higher, for the people that do watch them, they have a higher watch rate, like how long you're watching for. So if that's you, I appreciate it. But yeah, we're doing it live on Twitch. So the Twitch plebs are here and I've asked them to put some questions in. And it can be a range of different, obviously, questions, topics, etc. But, you know, I'll answer questions that I want to answer kind of thing. But it should be from a range of different topics. The footage you'll see probably on the screen, as always, is the spare footage of a video that I'm not uploading. So enjoy probably mediocre gameplay in the background. But anyway, let's get into it. So the first question we will go with... We'll start with this one. It's a bit of like a meaty question, and I'll then go back up because there's a few other ones I want to answer. But the first one, because he had it waiting for me ready, was from Bushman. Says, have I ever regretted being a league-only content creator? The answer to that is yes and no. The overall answer is no, because of how much it's given me. I can't regret that, if that makes sense. Like, I've now been doing this for over 10 years. My first video upload was a month ago or whatever. As some of you may remember, we kind of mentioned that. I never, ever, ever, ever in my wildest dreams expected when I started doing league stuff, it would ever expected to turn into what it has. You know, I've moved out, I've got my own house, I've been given opportunities, all from doing League of Legends content. You just straight up, it's from doing League of Legends content. So I can never regret that, ever. I'm grateful for that. Then the caveat to it is, do I wish I had the, dare I say, strength to diversify a little bit more now? Yeah, I do wish maybe now I would have a bit more confidence or a bit more strength to do it. But the problem that you've got is I'd love to do a bit more variety content. League is a stressful game, and playing video games for a job sounds like a dream, and it is. But League is really stressful, so a lot of the time it doesn't feel like a dream when you're having to play solo queue all the time. But the risk of going diverse or doing something else, to me, it's so risky. Because, again, like I said, I've got a house, I've got mortgage payments. If it goes bad, it can go really bad. And yes, I do have some inspirations from when Total Biscuit went from World of Warcraft to then became one of the best video game not reviewers on YouTube, or even Jesse Cox, my two, obviously Total Biscuit and Jesse were both my idols. Both of them were World of Warcraft only and then diversified and became more successful. People do it. Do I think I could do it? That's the thing. I don't know. I don't have that confidence of going, yeah, no, it'll go really good. But I also have that impending risk in the background that if it does go bad, it could go really bad, where part of, I will say, the last few years as a content creator that I don't like that I've partially become is I've had the kind of attitude of, I'll just keep going by. I'll just keep chugging along. There hasn't been in that mind of no, I need to change things up and climb. It's just been that, let's just keep going on. And when you get in that mentality as a content creator, that isn't generally a good thing. That's generally when the slow decline happens. But obviously we are looking to do things. We're getting the YouTube manager in the next few weeks, etc. That is still in the background. My network that I've told you guys I've been locked into, they've been a bit awkward. Unsurprisingly, they don't want channels to be leaving. So it's been a bit awkward in the background, but that is still happening. So yeah, but that is hopefully a good answer. All right, next up. Am I ever going to compete in a powerlifting tournament? I'd like to, yes. I think there was and that's from Weber, and I think there is, and Weber also then asked, what's my PRs for all three lifts? So we'll combine these into both. I'd love to compete in a powerlifting comp, and I'd love to vlog it and upload that as a completely different content. You might notice, and obviously I'm wearing the team hat at the moment, I'm a little bit chunky at the moment. I can't hide it. I'm on camera every day. I'm a little bit chunky. I'm a little bit heavy at the moment. And I do need to lose a bit. I'm sitting at, I think, just under 100 kilo at the moment. And I know if I ever wanted to compete, I'd be competing at 90 kilo category. So I have to lose at least about 10 kilo, which I can do. Obviously, I lost a lot of weight years ago now. I got, actually, I would say I got too skinny at one point. I got to, I don't know what it all weighs in like kilos and stuff, but at my lightest I weighed 162 pounds, which is ridiculously light for a decent frame. I've always had decent shoulders and stuff, so I was carrying not enough weight, which was not great, and I basically got addicted to the number of just it going down. I think we've probably all been there potentially, or whatever. So yeah, I need to lose a bit if I want to get into a competitive mind frame. I've always been tempted in the last couple of years. Obviously, Tyler One hosts a powerlifting comp, like a Twitch Rivals. I probably could get in that, I'd imagine. And my numbers, when I've looked, would be semi-competitive. Tyler's deadlift isn't worlds away from mine, believe it or not. I know we look completely different, but my current deadlift, I think Tyler's got about 25 kilo on my deadlift. My current kilo, my current deadlift is 221.6 kilo, which is just under 500 pounds if you're in freedom units. So my deadlift's pretty good. My bench is my weakness because I've actually got a really bad weakness in my left elbow. That my left elbow just locks. I am working on it with an osteopath chiropractor quite often, and it's a bit of a mess, but we are making it stronger each time. So I think my bench is only roughly about 75 kilo there or abouts, which is not great. So that's what, 160 pounds bench, not great. And then my squat, we haven't pushed single squat in a while, but I think it's in the 160, 170-ish area. But again, we haven't pushed squat that much. We're actually starting to build my squat up. So my goals this year, I want to hit the 500 pounds on deadlift. Just that's a cool number. I want to hit 100 kilo on bench, which is, I know it's a big jump from where I am now, but because of the progress we're making, I think we can probably do it quite easily. And then I want to hit 200 kilo squat. So I know the numbers are a bit all over the place, some kilos, some pounds, but yeah, so that's where I am at the moment. But I would like to compete properly eventually. Next up, a lot of questions. Well done, Twitch chat. What off meta, this from Sith with, what off meta champ build do I enjoy the most? Of actual pure enjoyment, I'm going to take the Timo hat off. Actual pure enjoyment, what would I say I enjoy the most? It's a hard question because, like, historically, I don't really enjoy off meta stuff. Because, like, it's hard for me, it's a personal problem. It's hard for me to acknowledge off meta-y stuff because I just see it as an easier way of playing. If that's the way, like, just doing, because some people I have could be like, why is Huz not fine with people doing off meta or that type of thing? It's a personal problem. It's a problem that I just see it as less or lesser. And I know that sounds weird, but that's the way that my mind unfortunately works sometimes. So, but if I have to give an answer, what would I say? I have had fun playing AP Twitch before, but hell, that's probably not even off meta. Like, that's part of the champion now. So yeah, on an actual off meta thing, I don't really know, if I'm completely honest. I'm not really sure. So yeah, I don't know. Next up, let's see, where are we here? Do I think I could reach Grandmaster if I did main account only off stream? It's an interesting question. Obviously, some streamers have done that, you know, when they're struggling on an account, they're a bit stuck, they stop streaming for a couple of days and boom, they're suddenly climbed. The act of streaming is both a positive and a negative when it comes to your rank. It's overall a negative of actual where you could be because it's such a distraction for most streamers. You know, I'm someone that does interact with chat. I am someone that reads chat, talks to chat. That's going to take, you know, percentage of concentration off playing. It's going to take into that direction. That's always going to hurt you. But then, and in the same flip side, it sounds, again, this is something that I'm also working through. The person that cares about my rank the most is myself. I've actually kind of learned, you know, a lot of the audience, both on Twitch and YouTube, don't really care what rank I am. Yes, they'd like if I was the highest rank I can be, but they more just want me to have fun. But when it comes to trying the higher ranks and everything, I only really care that much because I'm making content or because I'm streaming. If I wasn't making content, if I wasn't streaming, I wouldn't care about being that high rank. Like, I just wouldn't. It's one of the main drives of why I actually want to be high rating. That's kind of, so it kind of goes hand in hand. So yeah. So yeah, do I think if I stopped playing right now on the main account and just played a lot off stream, do I think I'd climb? Yeah, I do think I'd climb. Do I think I'd get Grandmaster? Probably no. Do I think I'd maybe get Master? Maybe. But I'd also say, you know, mid lane is what I'd say is my main role, but I've not been playing much mid at the moment. The meta at the moment does not suit me. You know, it's a bit chaotic. And I've always told you guys, I don't like chaotic metas. I like quite strategic time of play, and that just isn't League of Legends at the moment. So unfortunately, even if I was playing my absolute best, the current meta, you know, and that's the thing, it sometimes metas suit you, sometimes metas don't. The current meta, I just don't think suits me very much. So yes, we'll climb or we'll try to do our best, but still, I just don't think the current meta suits me too much. Next up, from Zyphus Cafes, do I find it rewarding to climb to higher ratings, or do I feel you do it just for the prestige of master level? Oh no, I definitely, there is satisfaction there. Yeah, there's definite satisfaction when you get back. You know, for me, it's been a bit like, oh, getting back to Diamond 1, or hopefully getting master in the near future. There is definite satisfaction of doing that, no doubt in my mind at all. It is, League is my main game. I've been playing this game for over 10 years, so for me, master is a very, very good rank. And that is like, it sounds dumb, I don't play World of Warcraft anymore, but that's like killing something really in good time on mythic level difficulty in a WoW raid. You know, it's that same thing I'm chasing. So yeah. Mika says, you posted about PMA. When you are having a bad time and get salty, how can Twitch chat help you? Yeah, so it's an interesting question. Obviously, I'm trying to get better with it. I'm recognizing that I've definitely gotten saltier over time. What could Twitch chat do? Because obviously the YouTube audience can't do anything because you guys are watching it after the fact. But obviously I'm streaming. Could the Twitch chat do anything? There's been times in the past that we've tried to do stuff. Like we've got an emote Huzzy Bonk with it's the Huzzy Lion with a hammer. It worked to a certain degree, but then it kind of became annoying. If that makes sense. Like some people were using it as the intended way of like, just Huzz, you're getting a bit much. Here's Huzzy Bonk. I see that in the Twitch chat, and it just is it's a notable, it's a thing that I can note, and it just brings me down a level. But then some people are doing it to be annoying, if that makes sense. Like even if I was having a completely fine game, people would then be spamming it a bit. And typically it was people that weren't really part of the community, if that makes sense, but it was still noticeable. So it's an interesting question. I don't know. Maybe we could do something similar to it. Maybe instead of having an emote, maybe there could be a pleb point redeem. Obviously, pleb points are the free thing you get, but I'm just watching the stream. And if I make it not really, really cheap, then someone who's just randomly visiting the stream can't do it to be annoying, but someone who has actually part of the community could then do it. Maybe that would be the answer. I'm not sure. But we'll think about that because, yeah, it was effective at the beginning at least. Aluramic says, when playing solo queue, Jesus Christ. Neon Moon slapped the stream. Oh, God. Maybe even the stickers. Who knows? When playing solo queue, what rating do I think someone should be, MMR experience-wise, to carry bronze games 1v9? So again, the concept of carrying 1v9 is a harder concept now than ever. You know, the meta, and well, in to and fro, it's harder to carry 1v9 nowadays on most champions, but there are specific champions that can do it easier than others. So if you're playing something like a Kayn or a Hecarim or something, they can 1v9. So firstly, I would say if you are trying to really get yourself out a rating and you're trying to 1v9, make sure you're playing a champion that is good for doing it. If I go to you, oh, you're trying to 1v9, what champion you're playing, and you go Malzahar, you can probably see it's kind of a non-starter. Before you even get going, you're playing a champion that can't 1v9. So firstly, I'd say play a champion that can do it, has the strength to do it, and a lot of the time it's the mixture, and I'll say a lot of it's junglers, but a lot of it is the mixture of speed, so like very fast, they can roam around the map fast, and the snowball damage capability as well. So But then as for actual, like, how much better, usually I would say if you truly belong in a rating above easily, you'll be roughly a rating above where you currently are. So like if you're in bronze, to easily get into silver, you could probably be, let's say, a silver 1 to gold 4 player, then you'll easily get out of bronze. Like easily, you're there. If you're a silver 4 or a silver 3 player and you're in bronze, it is going to be harder. So I'd say if you're a complete 1 division up, yeah, you should easily be able to climb out the rank you're currently in. If it's a bit closer, then it's probably harder. But again, make sure you're playing a champion that can actually do that anyway. And that's obviously been something that I've changed recently. If you look at my mid lane champion pool throughout my last couple years, none of my champions in mid can 1v9. That's why I've now been playing jungle, and that's where some of my junglers in the jungle can 1v9. Those are those type of junglers. So yeah. Next up, Moxim says, how would you deal with a sense of aimlessness? I've lately haven't been feeling much of anything and I don't know what to do about it. I've been there 100%, and I would say, and obviously everyone is different, and I'm not a professional, and I would say obviously seek professional help if you think you do truly need it. I got into that mindset of aimlessness, meaningless, etc. when I was doing the same thing every day, every week. It was just, life became a complete routine. And I know for a lot of people that's what life is, and that's where I think a lot of people do get just stuck in that kind of, you just disappear a bit mentally. So luckily for me, my life has definitely gotten a bit better, and that was by slap. Thanks, Ricky. That's where my life improved, when I then forced myself. And that's the thing, you have to take the initial step. And Moxim in chat says you got an appointment Friday. Well, you're taking the first step, so you're already doing it. You need to break yourself out the complete normal routine. And that doesn't mean that you quit your job or anything like that. But if you find that you're doing the same thing, you wake up, you do the same thing, you go to work, you come home, you sit at your desk, you play games, you go to sleep, you wake up, you go to work, you come home, you sit at your desk, you go to... It's the same thing every day. That is what's going to make you feel that way, in my experience. So don't do that. You can do that most of the time, but if one day a week you go to the gym, or one day a week you go over your parents' house, or you go to a sibling's house, you go to a friend's house, you go out to dinner, you go out for a walk, do something that is not part of your normal routine once a week. That will probably help in some way. It's probably not going to do the complete thing, but it's a start of giving you something to do. Because again, the aimlessness is just the repetition. If you have that once a week, I'm going to go do something else, you're giving yourself something different to focus on. Something different is what you need. That's my advice. Again, I'm not a professional, but it's something that I've dealt with myself. And although my life in some aspects is still fairly repetitive, you know, being a streamer and doing the same thing all the time, but my life is getting better. And a lot of it has to do with Queen Pleb, and a lot of it has to do with having Little Miss Maya, because I'm going to more places, I'm doing more things, I'm going out on walks, we're going on adventures that I would normally never do. And that is just breaking out of the constant repetition. So that's what I would say. Hopefully that helps. Would it be worth creating a second Twitch account to stream variety on? I don't think so. I know some streamers have created second accounts to do that. Twitch is slightly different than YouTube. For YouTube, it is worth doing because of the mighty algorithm. If you just upload League of Legends and then you suddenly upload something variety, it messes with an algorithm and it probably hurts your channel overall, as dumb as it sounds. So uploading something, having a second channel for variety is probably healthier overall. For Twitch, there is no mighty algorithm really that's promoting you, and like if you're just playing League and you suddenly play Dota, you get punished. That doesn't really exist on Twitch. I think a lot of the time the reason why Twitch streamers do it more, well, it's two reasons. First reason, and you can't really hide it, it's double dipping subs. So like your hardcore audience, there'll be a subscriber to you on your main channel, and oh guys, I made a second channel, they'll subscribe over there. So it's kind of double dipping on subs. You can't really hide away from that. But then I think the other thing is, if people know you for a game. So for me, people know me for League, and if people came to my channel, and it has happened, of like, Huz, you're playing Call of Duty, oh, I am out, I'm not going to watch Huz again, I'm only here for League. So for that aspect, it does help, because on the HuzzyGames channel, oh, he's playing League only on HuzzyGames. Whenever if someone random tuned in, they'll tune in for what I'm known for. But then only the hardcore audience in the background will be like, oh, we know Huz's secret channel, he'll be playing COD over there, and they'll come for that. So it does work in a way, but I don't know if I'd ever do it myself. I don't know. We'll see. Oh, I see. Bushman says, if you could become a part-time content creator, should you do it? I mean, do what you think is the best. I would say when it comes to content creation, obviously, the chances of becoming a content creator are so astronomically low. I'd always be smart in what you're doing at any given time. So like I've had people message me over, I've done this for 10 years. I've had so many people message me. I've had even parents message me about what's the chances. Can we have a chat? And I have done a couple of chats with even parents and stuff just to give them the reality. Don't risk your future for the risk of content creation. Only do content creation, even in a part-time aspect, if you've got something else going on, and only then quit that something else if slap. God damn it, XA Jinx. Only quit that next thing, or only quit your sure thing if then the content creation thing is overtaking that sure thing. So for example, I don't mind talking numbers. I've always said when I finished university in 2016, I was offered 2 jobs. One was a junior game designer, and the other was a data analyst. I turned down both of those jobs. Both of those jobs were starting roles, and you never know what the future could hold, because like I then would have been, technically that was what, 7 years ago, so I'd be 7 years into a career, whichever one I picked, so I'd probably be on more money in that certain career. But at the time, those jobs offered roughly £20,000 each. Entry-level jobs, completely fine to be on that amount of money, both about 20,000 each. I was making more than that doing content creation at the time. So for me, it wasn't a risk to turn down those jobs because I was making a tiny bit more doing content creation. So that's what I mean. But if, let's say at the time I was making 10 grand a year doing content creation and I was offered 20 by a job, I probably would have taken that job and then done content creation on the side. And if ever the content creation then overtook my current job, that's when I would really consider, oh, maybe I should quit the job to do content creation. That's what I would say. Is there's been examples as well of a lot of YouTubers had jobs at McDonald's. I think even Syndicate, if people know Pro Syndicate, he, obviously his career's changed a lot, but he was a McDonald's, I believe, worker, and he quit only when his YouTube channel was doing better. And I think even some of the FaZe members have done the same. So just be smart about it. Don't risk everything, because even where I am now, I've been doing this for 10 years. You know, we've all had those conversations. You've seen me on stream talking about it. Like, I can't do this forever. I know I can't. I'm hoping I'll have another 1 to 2 years in doing this with me, but I'm eventually going to have to move myself into the professional field. There's even a risk for me. You know, luckily I've got a degree. I can fall back on that. I do, you know, my job does bring, in the games industry, people do see my job as a good thing, you know, but there are some industries that if I have on my CV, I've been a content creator for 10 years, they won't see that as any type of work. Again, luckily a lot of the time in the gaming industry or the IT industry, they do know what it is. So they do use that as actual work, thankfully. But if you risk everything in your early life and don't build up a CV, and then the content creator thing doesn't work out, it's kind of a double negative. Just be smart is what I have to say. Be smart, look after yourself for your future self is what I have to say. So yeah. All right, if I could meet an F1 driver or owner, who would it be? Lewis Hamilton. Just easy answer for me. Like, he's been one of my idols for a long time. So yeah, Lewis Hamilton quite easily for me. Next up, what's my earliest, most vivid memory? Stamping on Donald Duck's foot in Disney. Yeah, so we used to go to Disney. I was a very fortunate, very spoilt child in that aspect. I went to Florida, Disney, and again, I know I'm spoiled, and I know what I'm about to say. Some people are going to go, what? I went to Florida and Disney, and obviously I lived in the UK, so it was not a normal holiday, but I've been there 15 times, and I've not been there for about 10 years. So I went to Florida 15 times in my first 15 years of life. We nearly went once a year. Some years, if we missed a year, we then go twice a year for other years. But on average, we went once a year, which I know is ridiculous. And I know it is. I'm fully aware of that. I was very lucky, very spoilt. My dad had the ethos, and obviously it did it did cause, I think, rifts or a little bit of arguments between my mum and dad. My mum was like, maybe we should put more in savings, and my dad was like, but what about the kids' memories? And that's basically what it was. My dad cared so much about me and my sister's childhood, and he wanted to give us the best childhood he could, that they weren't stupid with money. Like my parents did have savings, but he just wanted us to have that childhood, if that makes sense. So yeah, so I went there a lot. And one of my earliest memories is being ignored by Donald Duck with an autograph book, and I stamped on his foot. And yeah, I think they were quite surprised. So yeah, I got it signed eventually. So there we go. I actually, somewhere in a drawer back here, I've actually got one of the autograph books from Disney as well. So yeah. Outside of league and gym, what's my goal for the year? Probably, again, losing weight a little bit. I want to be a little bit less fluffy. But don't get me wrong, I don't think I'm like crazy fat or anything. You know, and being a bit fluffy as at the moment isn't hurting me. Like, you know, I go on really big walks and hikes with Maya and Queen Pleb. It's not, I can do all of that. It's completely fine. I'm never like, oh God, I can't do this. I'm completely fine. So I just want to lose a little bit for me. There's been, you know, and I think one of the biggest noticeable things is obviously we all have our favorite pieces of clothing that we've had for many years. A couple of those favorite pieces of clothing, they're a little bit snug at the moment, you know? And when you're feeling a couple of your favorite pieces of clothes are a bit snug, guess how that's happened? It hasn't shrunk. I've gotten a bit bigger. So yeah, that's what I would say. Yeah, need to reduce my hitbox for sure. Mika says, would I feel it's weird if a long-term viewer see you as friend / even family? Yes and no at the same time. Like, you've got to be careful in a way with parasocial relationships, obviously. And a parasocial relationship is like an unhealthy thing where people do see a content creator more. Like, would I say that I'm definitely friends with people in our community? Yes, 100%. And I don't think that's a negative. But at the same aspect, you know, people there is a line, and I don't think that's a bad thing. You know, I am practically the same person that you see here. I'm the same person offline. I don't change, but you guys know a lot more about me than I know about you. So obviously there's instantly a dynamic there that's a bit odd, and also there is a power dynamic as well. You know, you guys watch me, and it's that weird, and it's the whole thing with content. It's not just me, it's any content creator. Like, you guys are going to treat me differently because of the relationship that you've had with me for years online, and I can't do much about that. But you just have to be a bit careful about it. It's that simple. Like, I 100%, if ever, you know, in public, or if I ever go to an event and you see me, come up to me, say hello, all power to you, and I'd love to say hello. You go, it's like the same attitude that Fluffy has got. You know, Gabriel Iglesias, he always has the attitude of, if ever I'm at a restaurant or etc., you know, say hello, stop me, because you guys are the people that actually enable me to do this as a job. But obviously, as always, there's a line. And I think it's that simple. There's a line that know what the relationship is, but at the same time, I'm appreciative, I'm grateful. So yeah. What are my thoughts on doing a fun stream with Queen Pleb and friends in the future? She's been on stream before, or her voice at least, a couple times. I'm sure she will in the future. It is something that we obviously have discussed. And yeah, she doesn't want to be in like a public imagey thing at all. It's just not her. She's a fairly shy person. And I respect that. You know, if I could go back in time, would I ever have turned a webcam on? I'm actually not sure anymore. There are things that are both positive and negatives with turning a webcam on being a content creator. So I'm not sure. But yeah, no, I'm sure she'll be on stream. I will be playing Diablo 4, and I obviously am also a featured streamer when it comes to Diablo 4. If you watch my stream, you can actually get a special loot. If you gift 2 subs in a month period while Diablo 4 is launching, you actually get an exclusive mount. She'll be playing Diablo 4. I'll be playing Diablo 4. Maybe there'll be a stream of us playing together. I don't know. Who knows? Maybe. Maybe it could be a subathon goal. Who knows? But I never want to force her to be on stream. Because if she doesn't, that's completely fine. You know, this is HuzzyGames. So she can do what she wants, you know. It's completely up to her, and that's completely fine. It doesn't bother me either way, you know. If she never wants to be on stream ever, that's completely fine. So yeah. Right, a few more questions and then we'll be done, I think. Hello, Ricky. I think we've done a lot of them. If you seriously how high do I feel knowledge could take? Oh, if I seriously coached someone from silver, how high do I feel like your knowledge could take them? It's an interesting question. Because what I would say, it depends on the player. Like, one thing that I think the internet in general, Ultra Dan 95, 30 months tier 1, thank you so much, do says heyo. One thing I think the internet, and I've actually said this if you go back years, isn't very good at doing in the video game space, is everything practically you do in your life, you've got a natural skill towards, and that could be, you could be not very good, or you could be naturally amazing. And then with practice, you can get better at something. But even with practice, a lot of the time, we have a limit of how good you could be. The one thing I think the internet is really weird when it comes to video games is no one ever thinks or talks about having a natural skill to a thing, or then a natural limit. And, you know, if you go crazy coaching and practice and really dive into getting better, you potentially could even break your natural even limit. You could go a bit above it. But that's kind of the problem, is I think if you've been playing League for a long time and you're still in like a silver ranking or something like that, I don't know how high eventually you could be. Because I think naturally, even without much help, a lot of people could naturally people could end up in platinum if they deserve it, if that makes sense. But with coaching, maybe they could peak up into diamond. But it's a really hard thing to say. That whole thing about if I coach someone who's in silver, where would they go? It all depends on the specific person that is, if that makes sense. So yeah. All right, I'm just scrolling through some more. If something ever happened and you couldn't stream, but Riot came to you and asked you for the work for them, either a League team or MMO team, would I like to do it? I mean, we weren't too far away from that opportunity happening a little while ago. I was in talks with Riot about a certain role, and it fell through more for me. That it was, Riot is not the most friendly company when it comes to work from home. So they are an office-based company. They like having that control of having the employees in the office, which fair enough. And the office is based in Reading, I believe, here in the UK. I'm not crazy far from there, but at the time of those early talks, I had recently moved into my house, and I didn't really want to be like, right, I've got to start commuting all the way to Reading to go work for Riot. So it kind of fell through, but I was talking to the person that was basically hiring. I would have got an interview, all that stuff would have happened. And it was just kind of, we both said, there's just not really any point. I don't want to commute, and you guys won't let me work from home. Would I ever work for Riot, though, in the future? Never say never. Although I do think it's probably, in a weird way, it's unlikely because of how office-based Riot are. So yeah, I don't know. but who knows? You never say never, but I'm not sure. Do 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 do. All right, we'll only answer a couple more. What's my dream vacation? I've recently been thinking more and more and more about, you know, those a few places do it. I think like Bali and stuff do it. I'm not really sure, but those like huts that are out to sea that have like the wooden huts and like they have glass that you can look into the ocean and like you have a private hut, but they're all in the sea. One of them. I honestly think one of them would be really nice. Because Maldives, I think, do it and stuff. But a few places do it. But yeah, that one of those I think would be the dream. The other dream is Japan, and I think me and Queen Pleb are roughly planning Japan for next year. We do want to go to a few places before we start a family, because firstly, they're really expensive holidays, and when you have kids, I imagine you don't have any money anymore. And secondly, they're really big holidays that you're not going to do even with young kids. So we want to do Japan, and I think it's a bit scary, but I'd like to go back to America. But I'm a little bit freaked out about going back to America because the amount of problems that are happening every day there, it just seems like a really high risk. So I don't even know if we're going to go to America, to be honest, but I don't know. So yeah. Will I go to any events in 2023? Undecided. Likely, probably no. If I did go to anything, again, TwitchCon, probably not. I don't know if they're doing TwitchCon London, because I know TwitchCon London is a smaller event than normal big TwitchCon. So if I did any, it might be TwitchCon London, if that is happening. I might be going to a few like more car orientated events, because that's kind of my passion, obviously, like Goodwood and stuff like that. So if any of you are going to Goodwood and stuff like that, I might be there. But yeah. But yeah, if two more questions we'll go for is, if you could switch your main game without any repercussions, what game would it be? I wouldn't pick a specific game. I'd just go variety. That's what I would do. If I could keep the same audience number, same amount of subs, same amount of views, I would go variety. I think it's just the best. It's the best situation in the world, you know. And then finally, I guess we can go with, it's an interesting one to end on. Is it triggering to be called by your real name on stream? And then they follow up saying you just see people refer to Solar and Ecton as Mike many times. So curious. I personally wouldn't like it, because online I'm Huzzy. It's about having that separation. You know, in my real life, they call me by what I am, and online, I'm Huzzy. Like, I think it's a healthy separation to have, and that's just completely the individual. Like, Solar and Ecton, yeah, he kind of goes by Mike, but that's his choice. You know, it depends what you sign your videos off with and all that stuff. I watch YouTubers that they go by a gamer tag, or they might go by their name. And there are some people out there, it's quite interesting as well. I've watched Jack Frags for many, 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 many years. It is noticeable he doesn't like calling people by a gamer tag. He likes calling them by their name. Obviously, I'm sure if someone said to him, like, oh, can you just call me by my gamer tag? I'm sure he'd be fine. But there's even that type of thing as well. But yeah, online, I like to be Huzzy. That's the way I've marketed myself. And it's about having also that kind of healthy separation. Because if I hear, you know, I'm the same person, but if I hear Huzzy, then I'm Huzzy, if that makes sense. I think it's just a healthy thing to have. And then finally, I know I said finally before, apparently there was a question just quickly about the Subathon. The Subathon is happening in June, and it will be starting on the first day of the Subathon is June 24th. It'll be 10 a.m. UK time on the 24th, the Saturday. It'll be 3 hours will be banked straight away, so a minimum 3 hours, and then obviously every sub bit, everything adds on to the time, with no maximum. We'll be streaming maximum of 12 hours a day, so 12 hours day 1, 12 hours day 2, and if it keeps going, we'll do 12 hours day 3. But obviously, the longer it goes on for, the harder it's going to be. But yeah, so that is it. And obviously, it is worth saying, because some people are like, why aren't you doing it completely uncapped? You're doing 24 hours in one go. I already feel quite guilty doing a subathon when it comes to Queen Pleb is going to have to look after Maya, the little puppy, the whole time, because I will be stuck doing a subathon. So that's why I'm limiting it 100% just to doing 12 hours a time, because yes, I doubt I'll be up that much either side of it, but it means I can just take a little bit of, I can help her a bit. You know, when I tune out, it'll be 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. So before 10 a.m., I can help in the morning a little bit. When I'm finished, I can help a little bit just before bedtime. It's a little bit of a help. But yeah, and trust me, and I will say, I've already said to her, either a weekend before or a weekend after, she gets to have time off. I'll take care of Maya the whole weekend. And she says I don't even need to do that, but I want to. But yeah. But anyway, June 24th is the day. If you're in the YouTube audience, please mark it in your calendar. Come say hello. If you're in the Twitch audience, hello. Obviously, you guys a lot of the time will be here anyway. But yeah, that's going to be it. Hopefully, you guys enjoyed the Q&A. We don't do them that often, but they are fun to do. If you did, do throw a like on it. As a well done for getting here to the end for this video, we will give away some of the Jarvan skin codes that I've got. I think it's for Nightmare Jarvan or whatever the latest Jarvan skin is. All you got to do is be a subscriber, like the video, and comment down below something positive. I don't know, anything positive. Make sure to include your summoner name and your server. Something positive, and you'll be entered to win Jarvan and the bundle. So the skin, Jarvan, the champion, and the green chroma. But anyway, it's going to be it. As always, thank you guys so much. I will see you guys in the upcoming content. Adios, amigos. Goodbye. Call down the reckoning.